Coming up this week on the Course of Life podcast, the FedEx Cup playoffs and the Tour Championship delivered a great spectacle of a finish and a fitting winner amidst all the drama in the game that we get to. Plus, a huge week ahead for us. Michael and I reunite on the golf course. We have a Course of Life Playcation trip coming your way. Find out where. And we're tuned into a weekend travel show that's got some humor and mountain views. This week's guests, we've got Season 4 Holey Moley Champion Kathy Valyo. We started the season with the host. We end the season with the champion. And it's my Vegas food recap and Mike talking all things vacation dining when we always end with food. All of it brought to you by our friends at Desert Fox Golf. And Mike, this week when we're out there together, it's Desert Fox Golf bringing you the essentials of the golf cart life. It starts with the phone caddy that holds your phone safely for the 18 holes. And it ends and begins and continues with those swing aid bottles so we can keep ourselves hydrated on the course. They really do it all.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having a safe and secure phone so we can capture content the entire time and not have to worry about losing our phone somewhere in the depths of the cart, and staying fully hydrated and having a good time every time we look at those sleek, sexy tumblers from Desert Fox as well with everything. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it could be water, it could be the drink of your choice, but no matter what the occasion, it's a fun way to celebrate on the golf course and keep your drink cold, most importantly, which everyone loves. We love what Desert Fox Golf is doing with the Swing Aid brand in addition to their own. They're basically occupying your entire golf cart, and we are here for it. Use promo code Course of Life to save 10% off at desertfoxgolf.com on any of their products. Again, promo code Course of Life to save 10% off at desertfoxgolf.com.
Hello, interwebs, and welcome to Course of Life, part of the Morning Read Podcast Network. We are proud to be presented by our friends at Desert Fox Golf and D3 Golf. I'm Michael, he's Alex. And Alex, I'm just going to go because you don't really need me here anymore, because for the last 3 weeks, you have successfully, in your picks, chosen the winner for every week of the FedEx Cup playoffs. So you don't need me anymore. I'm just going to go.
Yeah, it's Wednesday Twitter notifications on for pretty much everyone who's listening, who's ever logged onto that app. You need to go ahead and do that right now, because I have been giving out money like Oprah gives out cars and houses to audience members. It's been a true giveaway in the last few weeks. 3 for 3, 3 in a row, the sweep, the three-peat. I'm not going to get too braggadocious, but yes, I did let you know in advance that at least half of this episode is going to be about how I am just a superior human being. And I think it starts with these PGA Tour picks, which are just red hot just in time for the end of the season, right?
Yeah, you were white hot the last 2 weeks with your picks, and going into the weekend this weekend, it looked for sure like one of us was going to have a pick of the winner. I had my 3 picks were 1, 2, 3 going into the weekend. Yeah. And some of your other picks were somewhere down there.
I had Rory and Cantlay flirting the whole time. Yep. I had Xander Schauffele. I basically threw down on almost everybody except Scottie Scheffler. But the Rory 9-1 bet was intriguing to me because I knew he had 6-7 shots to make up right off the bat. 6, I believe. And lo and behold, Scottie Scheffler, even with a 6-shot lead, Mike, in the final round, Scottie Scheffler comes back to the field, gives others an opportunity, and Rory loves surging in those moments. He's just never been quite that front runner, lead of the pack type guy. He seems to love doing it in this comeback fashion, just like he did on Sunday.
Yeah, and it's especially interesting because, of course, they finished the third round Sunday morning, and Rory went out there and he put up 1 or 2 birdies, so he got himself in good position. But Scheffler went out there and rattled off like 3 or 4 birdies to finish his last few holes. Yeah, had 5 shots clear of the field. It just looked like this was his, obviously it was his tournament to lose, and he did that exactly. He lost it. He was a completely different player when he went out in the afternoon, and this was a flip from what we saw with Rory at the Open Championship, where no putts seemed to want to drop at all for Rory, and the golf gods just weren't smiling. And now Rory had the golf gods smiling entirely, hitting the pin on 16, his putt on the par 3 as well for birdie, which was huge. It's an interesting. Rory had the low round of the tournament as well, right? He was the low man in the tournaments, which doesn't happen very often with this altered stroke start. So he's going to get the world golf ranking points. He's going to get the $18 million. Thank you, NBC, for telling us 50 billion times how much money the winner was going to get and the difference between first and second and third and so on. And so now we know Scottie Scheffler is player of the year. It would have you could have just handed it to him if he had actually won on Sunday. Now, not so much. But Rory certainly has been the face of the tour and now gets to be the face of the tour and the 3-time FedEx Cup champion.
Yeah, he had his say throughout the season too. He had a win in Asia and the KJ Cup in the fall, and then he won again in the spring, won the Canadian Open in that really cool duel as well. Had moments in the majors, didn't lift one. So it's an interesting time in his career because while he's not quite eclipsing all of his pinnacles and his top of the line career goals, he's plucking off big wins in big moments like this. And you could tell he knew the money was on the line because he brought it. That birdie at 15, you mentioned the fist pump really got things going. And he was impressive down the stretch. And it was really cool to see, especially backing him. So shout out to Rory for getting it done. And in an interlude and transition to everything that's going on in the world of golf, Mike, how fitting that Rory McIlroy, the PGA Tour's head cheerleader and cheerleading instructor, wins the FedEx Cup and all of the money. Smiles and smirks exchanged with Jay Monahan afterwards.
Yeah, I think Jay Monahan certainly couldn't be happier with how the FedEx Cup as a whole played out, because the last 3 Sundays have just been spectacular golf to watch, and you couldn't ask for anything better.
It looked great, yeah.
And especially Jay Monahan, I'm sure, is really happy as well, certainly with how the PGA Tour has evolved in the last 3 weeks with everything else that's been happening. But at the conclusion of the tournament on Sunday, both Scottie Scheffler and Rory said it's not about the money. And it is about the money, but it's not about the money. And I think they, perfectly sum it up, where they're not here on the PGA Tour. They're not playing the best they can play to get rich. They're doing it to be part of the history of the game.
The accolades, the trophies, the winning the tournaments, the beating the best fields. The money comes with that, but those are the things that really do drive them. And that's going to resonate. That's been the resonating argument. That's been the theme of golf in 2022, as this game is getting completely divided as we wrap the 2021-2022 season. We'll flip the calendar a couple weeks to the new PGA Tour season. But the crazy part of this whole thing is I just want to remind everyone that those Netflix cameras for that elusive F1 style documentary have been rolling this entire time. So I cannot wait until that Netflix documentary drops. We're going to have to do a special emergency episode. I'm just letting you know in advance when that drops, because that content is going to be amazing if it personifies 10% of what actually went down this year in the game of golf.
I mean, it's just crazy what's happened this year, and that they just happen to be filming a Netflix documentary the entire season. How fortuitous for them to be able to get that to happen there. Yeah, it's almost like they knew something was going to happen. But certainly an incredible season that we've had here, and now we're on to all the change in the new season. We're done with the wraparound season pretty much now, so we're going to go to a more traditional season format, really kind of transitioning. And of course, in 2024, we're going to get this new thing from Tiger and Rory that we found out about that's actually happening. This has all moved very quickly. What do you think of this new tech-heavy, fan-heavy experience in some sort of arena that they're going to do on Monday nights?
Yeah.
So
little Monday night golf, screw Monday night football, Monday night golf, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, is this? I'm assuming this is going to go on a network, so we're going to get this on CBS or NBC or something. I would hope this isn't going to Golf Channel, because I don't have cable. I really don't want to have to pay.
I'm thinking NBC, this, Mike, because ABC is The Bachelor, / ESPN Monday Night Football, CBS. I'm thinking NBC if I had to pick, or maybe Fox Sports or something along those lines. But yeah, that's an interesting concept that's being brought to the forefront. Very futuristic technology. technology driven, not quite the full watching them play a course experience, but with the ginormousness of the screens and the live action component of them actually being there, it lends itself to be a fun ticket. I'm giddy over the possibility of seeing that come to a city near me. All just a bunch of sketches at this point right now, though.
Right, exactly. And again, we said this last week. We thought this was going to be some sort of Topgolf style thing. I just want to know how long until Topgolf slaps their name on this, because
I'm ready. For our friends at Topgolf, I mean that they hopefully are seizing the moment. They've got those meetings scheduled, right? You'd think so.
And, if you guys are looking for fresh young talent, I don't know how young we really are, fresh talent who's looking for an opportunity to do something really cool. It isn't your typical, Jim Nance sort of guys out there. Give us a call. Drop us a line. We're here
speaking of something cool that we're doing, Mike, we're going to be reuniting on the golf course for the first time in a few years. It's going to be great to see you and your wonderful, beautiful face on the golf course for the first time in a while. How do you feel about that?
First of all, let's remember we're on a audio medium for a reason. I have a face for radio. Let's just start right there. This is really exciting. I may or may not have already started packing 2 days ahead of the flight.
Oh, exciting. That's how you know you're pumped.
I also realized last week that I didn't have a travel bag for my golf bag anymore, because the last time it was used, it had a lot of holes in it. So I got rid of it. So I had to run out and buy one of those.
Yep.
But this is very, very exciting to see your ugly golf swing in person again. And give you holy hell for it, and then let myself lose to you on the golf course as well, and then just hang out around at the Hyatt Regency Tamaya up there in between Santa Fe and Albuquerque in northern New Mexico. This is going to be fantastic. Yeah,
it's a really cool mountainside destination that's got some awesome trails and nature scenes that we can check out. Not only are we going to be playing multiple rounds of golf where shenanigans will be had and beautiful photos and video will be taken. We'll give everyone a tour of what the resort life and property is like too. So I'm looking forward to checking out all the amenities. There is something scheduled that has us hopping on horse. Mike, your thoughts on a horseback riding adventure? How long has it been since you've hopped on a horse?
It was either elementary or middle school when we went to a dude ranch in upstate New York.
This is great.
So it's
20 years in the making here. I love it.
It's been at least 20. It's probably been more than 20 years. It's been a long time.
I look forward to your reaction. Riding the trails. We'll be checking out all the pools and everything it has to offer, but a fun time to get back out on the course. Yeah, like you said, you're already packing. I did the full clean out of the golf bag since it's the first time I've actually traveled with it since pre-COVID. The Scottsdale Phoenix Open trip I took a month before COVID. So that was the last time I used the bag, and it's good to bring it back into circulation. It looks fine, but I had to clean out all the pockets, and it's amazing what you find and the things you stick in your golf pockets over the past couple of years. But it's all cleaned out, ready to roll, and excited to be part of the action.
Yeah, we're gonna have at least one D3 golf match, so we'll have we'll be talking through that as well. And if you want to challenge us, go ahead and shoot us a line on the D3 golf app. We'll play you for some real money there, and it'll be a lot of fun. You don't need to play with us day of; you can play with us whenever.
Absolutely, awesome. Yeah. Check out the D3 Golf app to challenge us locally or remote. We're finally get to do a local match, you and me head to head. We'll try a couple different formats out, and it's a really fun way to live wager and move money on the golf course with your friends. So check out D3.
The PGA Tour, of course, is now going to take a long needed 1 week off. That's literally all they're taking is 1 week off.
Technically, wait, is it two? It is, yeah, because it's just two full.
2 weeks.
Then we go West Coast.
Then we get a tournament, and then we get the President's Cup, and then we start doing more tournaments. So 2 weeks off. But there's still a lot of golf going on in the world this weekend. The LPGA Tour is still in action. The DP World Tour is still in action. Korn Ferry Tour playoffs are happening. So that's a thing.
That's a good little array right there.
Yes, I will say I am most annoyed, though, that none of this is on network television.
Yeah, a lot of Golf Channel coverage here. Last weekend on the LPGA Tour, shout out to Paula Rado, who got her first win in 157 starts, Mike. Held off Nelly Korda by a shot, too, who was surging. Impressive. That's always a difficult thing to do. She won the Canadian Women's Open, so shout out to her getting that first dub. So, yeah, I will definitely be channel surfing. It's going to be a lot of Golf Channel action, though, to check out the other tours as the PGA Tour finally exhales and takes a break on the schedule before we get fast and furious again in a week and a half or two.
So for now, let's switch over to Tuned In, where we share what we're tuning into outside of the world of sports. This past weekend, Alex, I drove from flat Savannah into the Blue Ridge Mountains of Tennessee to Pigeon Forge.
Road trip. I didn't ask about this.
Yeah, all by my lonesome. It was just me in the car.
Yep.
And it was just walls of green of mountains, and then this wedding was you couldn't drive up to the wedding because it was literally on the side of a mountain, and the view was just spectacular. A rainbow even formed at one point during this wedding.
Wow.
Just spectacular views, a phenomenal venue. It was just the best. But I do need to ask you a question.
All right.
During my drive up there, when you take the way you go, you can take some highways, take Interstate 40 through North Carolina and Tennessee, and the highway is 55 mile an hour speed limit, 50 miles an hour for trucks, and it's your typical uphill, downhill, really fast back and forth turns going through the valleys and the mountains.
Okay, all right,
okay. 55 mile an hour speed limit. What speed are you going, Alex?
I'm typically going.
Keep in mind, it's slower for trucks that are made to stay in the right lane, and and the signs say trucks shouldn't even exceed 55. That is a max safe speed.
Yeah, to be totally honest, I'm typically going a little bit over the speed limit, but not a crazy amount. So I'd probably put myself somewhere in the 60s miles an hour would be my guess. What was your scenario?
I was going 60, and I was one of the slowest cars on the road.
Yeah, I mean, you're safe. You're a safe driver. I find myself being I'm an aggressively safe driver myself. So that's why I just
don't understand though why we have speed limits if literally nobody follows them. This is really I'm turning this Tuned In into a grind my gears segment for a moment. It's just really like I was going through work zones too, 60 mile an hour work zones, and people are still going 75. It's like why do we have laws? We live in a society.
Yep, that's right. This week on Course of Life, Mike tuned into his aging process. It's happening fast, I guess.
It's just I've always been a curmudgeon, Alex. You should know that about me.
Yes,
I'm done. I'll get off my soapbox. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I look forward
to more of that later this week. That's going to be fun to see in person. That's great.
What were you tuned into?
New show airing on True TV of all places. Fun little comedy show based on travel, and it's hosted by two comedians, Adam Pally and John Gabris. It's called 101 Ways to Party Before You Die. Mike, we're taking a quick little 3-day, 2-night trip of our own, and that's exactly what the show is based off. These two comedians are buddies, and they travel to a unique city in the United States. They party, they eat, they drink, they tourism, they do all the things, they buy the merch, they see the things. And it's a really cool look and a funny way to travel around the United States. So I look forward to watching more destinations where these two comedians go, because it's a nice, easy travel watch for anyone who enjoys Travel Channel, Food Network, anything like that. This is a show for you.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of travel TV shows anymore, but I do a lot of travel YouTube stuff. So
yes, yeah. Oh yeah, I've been watching my Kara and Nate journey through the North Pole. So shout out to them. I'm always up on the travel YouTube as well.
We should get them on here because I watch them a lot too, actually. So
we're working on it. We're working on it. They're pretty popular these days. So we're working on it.
That's what we're tuned into. But let's go ahead and get to this week's guest. Alex, we started off season 4 of Holey Moley, which started earlier this year, with Joe Tessitore joining us on the podcast.
Yep.
And we've had a plethora of past Holey Moley champions on this show. And now we have another. It's time to welcome season 4's champion right here to the Course of Life.
That's right. Kathy Valyo, the $250K winner. We asked where the money went. We ask a lot of fun questions about how she got the winning putts done, the prep she did that helped her out in a very unique way. And I'm always asking about the elements, Mike. This is the thing I'm fixated with. In the Holey Moley California mountains filming, it gets cold up there at night. Things come into play. Weird stuff happens. So we get into all that with the season 4 champion. Excited to have Kathy Valyo on.
And we'll get to that conversation with Kathy in just a moment. But first, let's talk about D3, that official on-course betting app that we here on the Course of Life use. We said it. We're going to be doing a local match for the first time ever between the two of us. We'll be able to play each other and have a live result going on between us with this app. But typically, we're never together. We're playing in separate places with ourselves and other people. And we're playing for real money on different courses, on different days, adjusted for course difficulty, adjusted for our own personal handicaps. And it does a fantastic job keeping track of all of this for you.
Yeah, so I upped the ante for our local match on Thursday. So we're playing for 1,000 tokens. That's right, 1,000 tokens. You can play for tokens, but it gets transferred into real money that you can instantly get in multiple forms. So it's a really cool way to immediately cash out that winning bet on the golf course instead of fumbling through the bag for coins and $1 bills and I'll get you later notes. We're not doing any more of that. You're joining the D3 Golf app community and challenging us today. It's the D3 Golf app, promo code COL. Check us out, add us as a friend, and play us today. Next up on the tee from sunny, beautiful Southern California, we have the Season 4 champion of Holey Moley joining us. Our favorite show. We love having the All-Stars on, and we have another joining us in Kathy Valyo. Kathy, congratulations. How are you?
Thanks, Alex. I'm doing really well. Thank you. I really appreciate it and appreciate you having me on the show.
Definitely. It starts from the beginning of Holey Moley. Actually, last week's guest, Haley Hunter, was on one of the earliest episodes. We've had Tanner Beard on, host Joe Tessitore, and a cast of others from the show. And we love featuring champions as well. I'm very curious, though, because you had definitely a long wait time between when you actually won Holey Moley versus when the world got to find out that you won Holey Moley. What were some of the hardest moments this past year to keep that secret from everybody?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because so many of my friends and family have said to me, how did you do it? You filmed in March and yet you told no one. And I said, yeah, if you ever need someone who has to keep a secret, I'm your lady. Give it to me. I think the hardest part was probably with my family. And I have one son and I did tell him, and I have 4 other siblings, and I told my sister, and that was it. And they did an incredible job of not telling one person, their spouses or anyone else. And just watching episode or season 3, knowing I was coming up on season 4 and not being able to tell anyone was really challenging.
Yeah, quite the layoff between when you filmed and when it aired, but nonetheless, awesome to have that moment. And I'm very fascinated with the siblings who did not tell their spouses. That's very impressive, almost as impressive as you keeping the secret, I would say.
That was my sister only. My brothers, I did not tell. I was a little concerned they might spill the beans.
Love it. So I'm curious. Just tell us a little bit about maybe your golf background, how far your background with the game of golf goes, and how you specifically started prepping for the show when you found out you were going to be on Holey Moley.
Sure. So I grew up on the East Coast in Pennsylvania, and all of my siblings and their spouses belonged to golf clubs. I've played off and on throughout my life. When I was in my 30s, I had my son, so I kind of put that on hold for a little bit and then just picked it up in the last couple of years again. Okay. But growing up, we used to go to the Jersey Shore, which I know in your last podcast, you talked about one of the upcoming events in Jersey. And as part of our family vacation, we would often go to miniature golf places and play. So it's been kind of in our blood for a long time. And we've always enjoyed just going out to whether it's a regular golf course or miniature golf, and just trying to get that silly white ball in the hole. My nieces actually were on seasons 1 and 2.
That's right.
And they reached out to me. Yeah. And they reached out to me and they said, Aunt Kath, you have to try. You've got to be on this show. You've got to try. And I said, girls, first of all, I'm way too old for that. And I can't do those, all that crazy stuff they do. And they kept just saying, come on, Aunt Kath, you can do this. You can do this. So I finally bid on it. And I said, okay, I will put my name in and I will try out never thinking, Alex, that I would make it past
right?
the first round, right, of interviews. And it just kind of took off from there. So to get back to your question as to how I prepared, I actually did not prepare because I did not think I was going to make it. And when I finally got the call, I said, holy moly, I better get out and start putting.
Definitely. Yeah. So tell me, New Jersey and mini golf, putt, they seem very synonymous with each other. So that makes sense that you have that background. So the putt, the mini golf preparation specifically, what was that like? Did you go to one or a few specific courses? Were you testing yourself on actual greens with obstacles you were throwing in your yard? What was that pregame like?
Probably all of the above. So it was during COVID. So it was a little difficult to get out, but I would set some obstacles up in my house or outside. I was able to play a couple of times at a local miniature golf place with my nieces, actually. And then fortunately, we were able to get out on the golf course every now and then during COVID and just play regular golf, at which point I would really practice my putting.
Yeah, such a saving grace golf was in the last 2 years for everybody in the community.
Yes, it was.
Awesome to have that. The one element I always ask past Holey Moley guest and now champion Kathy Valyo joining us here is about the cold, which you don't necessarily expect because in theory you're filming in California. So how could it be cold? But when you get up in the mountains, I hear it's pretty frigid out there. And I saw there were some other elements for your finale as well too. Tell me maybe how ready you were for the elements and how you dealt with them eventually.
Sure. So I definitely was not ready for the elements. I had no idea it was going to be that cold. And you have to understand also that these are filmed in the middle of the night. Most filming doesn't start till 11 o'clock. And the filming that I did was all after midnight. Matter of fact, our finale was probably about 3:30 in the morning.
Brutal.
So yeah, it's totally brutal. So you think about, oh my gosh, not only the elements, but you're exhausted. At the same time, your adrenaline's going, and then the wind starts to whip up, the rain starts, and it's a delay. And it was all these things that you had to overcome. For example, my first night in filming, I got out about 2-3 o'clock in the morning. When I got to my car, I had ice on the windshield. I literally had to find a credit card to start to scrape it off because it was so cold there.
Jeez.
And you can tell, yeah, it was crazy. And you can tell by the people in the audience that they were all bundled up. Unfortunately, we were not. And as you witnessed coming out of the water for several contestants among myself, we were freezing. You could see our breath coming out. It was that cold. And by the way, the water is not heated. It's cold, just like the air temperature.
Of course it is. Brutal. Yes. The perfect recipe. And I mean, for yourself, you were pretty candid about it because you weren't sure if you were going to be put in this position or how you were going to fare with the physical challenge aspect of Holey Moley. You knew you could hold up from the golf perspective, but it sounds like from what I read with your performance that you were definitely having some moments where you were playing hurt. What was that like, kind of getting through the obstacles and having to also find the way to be competitive as well?
Absolutely. So the first obstacle that I had to endure was the pecker. And that was so difficult. You have to jump out and land on the pecker and then try to get the flag. Well, as I was jumping out, I didn't quite land and I ended up bruising my ribs. And from that point on, they really hurt. And every obstacle after that was extremely difficult for me because as I came out of the foam area going to the putting green for that, my ribs were killing me. I could hardly breathe. I thought I really broke my ribs, but I was not going to say anything to anyone. I thought, you know what? I'm a competitor. Just suck it up, Kath, and you'll be fine. So I endured throughout the rest of the competition, but you'll see on a couple of those, I was kind of a wimp. The second one, I had this whole strategy down, Alex, for the fish, where I was going to go from one fish, stop. After I got past that one, let it go, stop after I got past the second one. I got up to the first one and I totally blew it and went right in the water.
Of course, yep.
So I think it just kind of protected my ribs from being hurt more.
What was the final diagnosis? Everything okay with you now?
Yes. As a matter of fact, after I got back, I went to my doctor and he just said they were bruised. And I wasn't sure because in the past, you've always heard, oh, you should wrap your ribs if they were hurt. And he said, no, we don't do that anymore. So it's just as well that you just, went through it and were able to move forward.
Love it. All right. Awesome. Again, we're talking with Kathy Valyo, season 4 champion. Let's get to the highlights now because there's a couple we obviously have to call out when we refer to the hole-in-ones in competition. This is a real strange sentence, so pardon me here. This isn't a sentence I thought I would really ever utter to a guest on the show regarding your first hole-in-one. But Kathy, when you struck the putt and it went into Uranus, what was your reaction?
Pretty much what I just did. I laughed and I knew where I wanted to putt it on all of the greens. I knew exactly where I wanted to putt it. And I thought if I could just get it up and into the middle so it drops into Uranus, I'll be good. Whether or not it went in the hole or not, at least it would be close enough that I would be able to just putt it in. And so when it went up and came down into Uranus, and it was kind of hard to see exactly where it landed from where I was standing, but I could tell from the crowd's reaction. And then I was jumping up to see, and it went in, and I just threw my arms up and I thought, this is it, a hole-in-one.
And it was too, which made it all the more exciting. I love that.
Exactly.
What a great moment. So there was that one. And the second one, obviously, the $250K putt with the ultimate distraction in the form of Jeannie Mai singing her heart out, going right around the bend for the win. Talk to me about that putt. Was there any home obstacle in preparation that looked a little like that kind of curvature? How did you get that done?
No, there weren't any that I set up at home. Maybe on the course that I practiced on, there were a couple.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, I wasn't really expecting the ramp. And again, I knew where I needed to put it. And if you recall, my first shot, it was past the hole. My second shot was abysmal. It didn't even go close. And then I thought, all right, I know exactly where I need to hit this in order for it to go in. So you have the whole distraction. You have the fact that it's 3-4 in the morning. It's cold. It's windy. We had just gotten out from one of the trailers because of the weather, we had to take a break. And both of us were freezing cold. The wind's blowing. I think that was probably more of a distraction than Jeannie Mai and everyone else.
Yes.
And I just blocked everything out. And it's interesting because, you always hear about athletes who can block everything out, whether it's professional golfers,
finding
basketball
the zone,
players.
they always talk about.
Yeah, finding the zone. And I have to tell you, I found it. On every hole-in-one, I found exactly where I needed to be, and I didn't hear a thing. And so I putted and I thought, I've got to get this in the hole now because it's getting late or early. Sun's going to be coming up soon if we don't end this. And I just was able to figure out exactly the putt and the trajectory, so to speak, and where I needed to land it on the ramp for it to go in. And when it did, I couldn't believe it. I think a lot of people couldn't believe it. And it was just so exciting. The adrenaline's flowing and Jeannie Mai and I are dancing with each other and high-fiving. And of course, my competitor was fabulous. He was a really good guy. So it was a good final, I would say 18th hole, if you will.
It was an unbelievable finish. Be sure to check that highlight out online, or you can check out CoL Podcast on Instagram. We'll post the clip of that winning putt. An amazing moment. It was basically like the Scottish Open or the Open Championship with the conditions out there when you made it, which made it all the more impressive. Again, it's Kathy V220 on Instagram if you want to follow. Kathy Valyo, season 4, Holey Moley Champion. Let's get to some quick shot questions. First off, the prize money, the grand prize, what's it going towards, and any exciting purchases at all related to it?
Sure. So right now I'm working with my accountant to figure out exactly what we are going to do with the money as it relates to charities. So I've got a couple of different charities that I want to give to.
Nice.
One is Alzheimer's. And my father unfortunately passed away several years ago from complications. And I'm a firm believer that we need to do more research so other families don't have to go through what I did with my dad. And then secondly, a children's charity, whether it's the local hospital here or another children's charity. And then I have a couple of schools locally as well as back east that I'm going to be giving to.
Very exciting. Awesome. Love that you're spreading that out to the community as well and growing awareness to those causes. Good stuff. Let's go mini golf now. How many rounds of mini golf have you played since being on and winning Holey Moley?
Only a couple. And the reason for that, Alex, is because I'm playing a lot of golf.
Nice.
I'm playing, yeah.
How's things on the actual course going for you?
Well, I will give you a quote from my brother-in-law. Shout out to Larry. He said, Kathy putts like she has a handicap of 8 or 9.
Nice.
And the rest of my game is just okay.
That's okay. It's fun being good around the greens, even if the rest stinks, because you at least have a revenge moment when the ball goes in the cup nice and quickly. So,
absolutely. Yep, you got it.
Tourney of Champions in the future. Would you be in on that, or are you retired from Holey Moley competition?
Boy, I don't know. We talked about that when we were on set, and I thought, gosh, this would be really fun to get all of the people back together to do a championship. I would have to think twice about that, Alex. I don't know if I could go forward with some broken ribs or whatever might happen during that course. It would be fun, but given that I'm a whole year older now, I'd have to think twice.
Maybe you can just be a celebrity putter. How's that sound?
I would love that idea. Would absolutely love it. Yes. And by the way, I just want to do a quick shout out to a local family here who had seen me on episode 4 and had not seen the finale. And the mom had reached out to me via Facebook and said, my son absolutely loves the show and we were cheering for you and we would like to get together with you at the local course and meet you. So I've arranged that for the end of August.
Awesome.
And it's really cool. And not only that, but her daughter has some physical challenges and is at the local children's hospital frequently. So that made me feel so good that I was able to positively impact someone's life. And I'm looking forward to meeting that family and her 2 children.
Very cool to make that connection off of just the appearance in Holey Moley. Interesting how things work in the world. Very neat. Love that. Kathy, congrats again. We end all of our interviews with our golfers with the 19th hole question. And the question's real simple. When you get in after a successful round on the course or an unsuccessful one, what's your go-to order, your favorite meal and drink to have in the clubhouse?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say probably a glass of wine and anything salty. French fries, pretzels, anything of that nature is just yummy.
Yeah, can't go wrong. Great answer there. Kathy, again, congratulations on the season 4 win. Look forward to seeing more golf content from you and hit them straight out there as well.
Thanks, Alex. And you hit them straight as well, too.
And we're back. Great chat there with Kathy. Love the amount of preparation and everything that she put into this season to make it happen. And it's especially impressive that once again, we're taught that age in the game of golf is only a number.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she was toughing it out. I mean, learning about the injuries she actually went through in the moment and after the fact. Good to hear she's okay now, but you kind of have to when you're at that number. But she crushed the competition, and shout out to her donning the green jacket, the golden putter, all hers. Kathy, an amazing winner to cap off season 4 ever of Holey Moley. Great stuff all around.
And if you like that conversation with Kathy, plus everything else we do here on the podcast, go ahead and punch that subscribe button on the podcast app you're using right now. Or if you don't like that app, go ahead and go to the one you usually use and punch subscribe on that one. Leave us a rating, any number of stars or thumbs or whatever you want to.
We'll talk about nothing for 5 or 10 seconds while you do this too. So we're not going to miss any important conversation. This is something that you could totally fast forward through and get back right on track. So you could pick up and hear us talk about football right now.
So let's talk football. Alex, you were at Allegiant Stadium this past week. You were in Vegas for a whole mess of stuff, but let's talk specifically about Allegiant Stadium.
Yes.
And the Pats and Raiders preseason football, a game that means absolutely nothing.
Thankfully.
What was the vibe like in Vegas for this meaningless, stupid game?
So cool because it's just intriguing. It's a short walk from the Strip. So we're in Mandalay Bay having a drink, and you're literally you're looking at slot machines, and then you go down a hallway, you turn out, and then the stadium's just right there. It's right next to the action. It looks like a freaking spaceship.
Are there slot machines in the stadium? There
really should be. If there are, I did not see them. I walked about halfway around the perimeter on a couple levels to get a feel for the thing. But the building looks like a spaceship. It sticks out like a sore thumb, but it's beautiful inside. I had top level balcony, but front row seats right overseeing the whole field. 3 massive jumbotrons, and just really fast in and out process. That wonderful $1 billion view of the Strip as you walk in and out of the stadium. Definitely top tier stuff. And you could tell it was one of the newer NFL stadiums. I was thoroughly impressed.
So you've been to Allegiant. You've of course been to Foxborough.
Yep.
You've been to, where else have you been? You've been to Chicago, right?
I've been to New York for Jets and Giants games. I've been to Miami for Dolphins games. I've been to Chicago for Bears games. The main ones off the top of my head.
Which stadium is, in your mind, the best place to watch a football game?
I mean, I'm very partial to Gillette Stadium just because I've had so many memories there, and it's a nice compact building. But in the elements, though, it's not that much of a joy to watch a 3.5-hour football game in. So give me a beautiful playoff game setting in the domed Allegiant Stadium. Me and my wife even commented on how great the air conditioning was in there. It's just a beautiful, 70, 71 degree blowing AC, right? I feel like a fan's right at my back right now. It was a pleasant experience the entire night and being in the dome for sure.
Well, there you go. Well, you've got a lot more stadiums on me, and I can only say that Foxborough's, it was nice. It was a nice place to see a couple soccer. It's
not the tops, but it's nice.
It's nice. Let's talk college football, because guess what? That is back as well. It's time to start looking at all of our favorite teams. The usual 4 that make it all the way to the end.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And you had your picks first week, and once again, the winning ways continue for you, Alex.
Yes, even on formal publication form, writing on runyourpool.com, you can check out my weekly college football previews, usually up in the middle of the week, picking a handful of games, and it was a decent start. Yeah, it was a good afternoon. It was cool to quench my teeth into some actual college football that counted. Weren't the most drama-packed games, but nonetheless, I had a few winners and a couple losers, so decent start. As far as the week 1 schedule, it's Labor Day week in college football. Always a great time, Mike. The 2 that we can highlight for a few seconds, we got the Oregon Ducks. They're not going to Athens to play the Bulldogs. They're playing that game in Atlanta at that new Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That's one to check out. And then the other one is Notre Dame at Ohio State at night. So those are kind of the 2 marquee games to officially kick things off in college football.
I have no alliances or loyalties in college football to anyone, but I will say I am an Oregon Duck fan, as we know. It's been documented for years now. I kind of have to root for Georgia since I'm in Georgia, but I will root for the Ducks there. Between Notre Dame and Ohio State, they both suck. So, okay.
They do. Yeah. They're one of those, a couple of those programs in the last 10, 15 years that have come so close. Ohio State did get their one moment early in the playoff history, but outside of that, they've come so close and farted on themselves at the last second. So we'll see what the openers have in store, but check out my picks and article weekly at runyourpool.com.
Let's #AlwaysEndWithFood.
Yes, let's do it. And I'm going to start. Let's get into my Vegas food recap tidbits here, Mike. Which
first
direction
of all, before
you
even go there, let me just ask, how much money did you spend on food during the entire trip?
Oh my God.
In Vegas, I expect this to be a high number.
You want me to do this? You want me to do this?
Give me
you want to replay this whole thing?
Yeah. Give me a ballpark here, because we know from what you posted.
Start at 400 probably.
Okay. It's actually not that bad, maybe.
I'd say all in. Yeah, all in.
It started
everything.
with the nachos, right?
Yeah, so just the exorbitant, it was almost kind of laughable. No, fortunately, I'd budgeted this out for my Vegas trip. Listen, I'm not doing great in life, but I'm doing good enough where I can budget out vacations for myself. Well, we budgeted out the spend for food. We knew it was going to be crazy, but it is nuts in the inflation age going to Vegas. I got poolside nachos, Mike, for $36. Chicken, no beef either, just chicken.
Were they good?
They were pretty good, but I mean, admittedly, I'd had a few at that point, so I think any nachos would have tasted pretty damn good. But that was a funny price tag: $6 Starbucks coffees, $5 bagels, $6 scones at Starbucks in the morning. No coffee maker in the hotel, of course.
So wait.
You got to go downstairs.
$6 coffee. What coffee? Because you can get a $6 coffee at Starbucks really easy. Are we talking like a black coffee for $6?
Yeah, like black coffee was like $4.99, and my iced mocha was like $6.
Okay, yeah. Well, the ice mocha for $6 is actually maybe on the low end, but
funny inflation prices nonetheless. The best meal was definitely Tao Asian Bistro Thursday night dinner. I got some gyoza there, unbelievable fried rice with shrimp and sausage. I got some crispy orange chicken, hot and sour soup, the whole 9 yards. Really cool, swanky setting. Well, one of those restaurants where me and my wife, we love going there because we understand we generally don't belong with this crowd that's here regularly, but for a night we did, so it was good.
Yeah, that's all that matters. You probably fit in better with the Topgolf Vegas crowd than you did at Tao Asian Bistro.
Yes, definitely. Nice segue there. That was always fun. My new thing is I tried the buffalo chicken dip at every single Topgolf. They're 2 for 2 so far, so hopefully we keep that streak going real soon for my next visit. But it was fun to have the snacks there, have some drinks, and just hitting with the strip in the background is a really cool setting. I highly recommend for anyone who's doing a trip there upcoming.
And I asked you last week to make sure you got the marquee food item at Allegiant Stadium that you had to get, whatever that was. So what was it?
Yeah, I actually queried a few on the way in and asked, but didn't really find anything specifically. So I just got something random on that note. And I went to a unique little vendor, kind of a side vendor, not one of the formal concession vendors where you get the typical stadium food. And I got myself a banh mi sausage, which was amazing. Just a gigantic, like Italian style sausage, except it came with the pickled onions, cilantro, like a wasabi aioli, and a couple other things. And it was just absolutely divine. And it was a unique stadium snack at that.
Love it. Love it.
That's pretty much the Vegas food recap in a nutshell. But yeah, I tried to keep the budget as low as possible. Man, this inflation, Michael, it is a killer out here in these streets, especially in Vegas.
It's rough, but don't worry. For the this next weekend, we've been, as we said, the fine folks at the Hyatt Regency Tamaya are putting us up there for the week. So we're going to have some awesome stuff that we're going to do there. We're going to have I'm sure we're going to have some good food while we're there too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I know you already scoped the scene out. What are your thoughts on dining here? We're going to get a few dinners together. We're really going to chop it up in restaurant form. Get some good review content going as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having some New Mexico foods. I don't know what exactly New Mexico food is.
It's the green chilies, Mike. Green chili peppers. They throw it on like everything. Like it can be on sandwiches, burgers, Mexican dishes, green chili nachos, green chili quesadilla, green chili, anything really. I think that's what we're going to
have. We're literally just going to eat green chili straight off the vine. That's all we're going to have all week.
Love that. Yes.
There you go.
Good stuff. Yeah, follow Always End With Food on Instagram, CoL Podcast as well too. We're going to be posting there all week. It'll be nice to reunite with you, sir, and play again. Look forward to content coming your way and some more from our trip in the coming weeks. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next week.